Well, good morning, everybody. In the last couple of weeks, I've been approached by several people in regards to what my professional opinion is on REO and what's going to be coming back. As many of you know, since 1987, I've owned mortgage companies, real estate, worked in REO, that kind of fun stuff, and spoken on stage with Fannie and Freddie and all the banks and all that kind of fun stuff. So I'm going to give you my professional opinion. Now, based on statistics, let's start with a couple of facts real quick. In 2012, 35% of all properties sold in 2012 were distressed. And you work your way down to, say, 2015, that's 11%. In January of 2016, we're looking at about a 9% of all sales, across the U.S., are distressed property sales. Now, that being said, when you look at the annual appreciation, we're going to say, when you look between 1987 and 1999, you're looking at about a 3.6% per year. We'll call that pre-bubble. In the bubble, that was a 6.9. In the bust that we had between 2007 and 2011, we dropped an average of 5.2. And since that time, January of 2012 through December of 2015, we're up about 4.5%. So what we've seen is, we were inching up and then we climbed and then you're talking about, a 12% move from a 6.9 appreciation down to a 5.2. We've got about 4.5%. Now, this information is based on the home price expectation survey. So I just want to disclose that real quick. Now we're going to get into my opinion. The interesting information is, as most people know, during the bust, a lot of the banks, we call it through paper at the problems. This is when we threw out modifications after modifications. Just, hey, let me bring your loan current. That puts it as an equity position on my balance sheet, and that allows me to sell it, and I have to have less reserves for every one of the positive versus the negative distressed properties in my portfolio. So they threw mods out. Well, as we know, 40 to 50% of those mods re-defaulted within the first year. So they did the next step, and that was kind of like a test mod. Make these payments based on the modification payments for the first 90 or 120 days, and after you fulfill that, then we'll do it as a permanent mod. A lot of those mods were done on 5, 7, 10-year terms. Now, let's take one other step back. When the bubble was hitting, we're going to say up to 2007, a lot of the properties were 80-20s. So the challenge that you're having in a lot of these is the 20s weren't fixed. A lot of them were 5, 7, 10-year arms. Same problem we have with the first. Well, the biggest resolution, if there is two banks, one owns the first and one owns the second, this one, the first, is of course the first one to do the modification, and the second can stay as a subordinate lead based on the same terms and conditions, because this is the one that really dramatically affected the monthly payments. So seconds are now coming back up, and they're coming due. Modifications are now coming due. We're in 2016, we're at about a 10-year mark. So we've gone through 5, gone through 7, we're at the 10-year, some 15, some so on and so forth. But we're also running into the ones that remodified. Now, remods, a lot of them were done at like 2, 2.5%, 3% teaser interest rates. Well, warehouse lines are actually up now. So some warehouse lines are 2 to 2.25%, which means they can't keep the payment at a 2 to 2.5%. There has to be some kind of change. Now, I'm not talking that we're going to have a bubble. I'm not saying there's going to be a big burst, but I am going to tell you, I do feel between 16 and 2017, my predictions, we're going to see maybe about a 9 to 10% more increase over the term of the year. So you'll see maybe a 1 or 2% reflective on a monthly basis for the REOs going through second and third quarter of 16 and into 2017. Now, the interesting part, when you look at all the statistics and you look at all of the MLSs, there's a big difference. Before, what we called REO is now a lot that's showing investor sales. So it's not showing as distressed. The banks sold portfolios. So instead of it being under, example, Bank of America or Wells Fargo or Chase or Citi or any of those, a lot of them are going to come under a hedge fund. And under those hedge funds, there's There's got to be probably 150 major hedge funds in the U.S. Well, to them, it looks like they purchased the property, so it's no longer in default, and it looks like a traditional resale now. So when you pull your MLS data, a lot of it's skewed. So what I'm going to say is, I'm not going to say that you need to build a full-blown department of REO to be able to handle what's coming up. I am going to say that it needs to be a pillar of your business. Depending on your market, I've got some clients in Illinois that are still doing 400 a year. I've got some parts of California that are doing 5 REOs a year. So look at your market. Make sure you're looking at your MLS data. Make sure you're prepared for it. And at the end of the day, you need to have multiple pillars of any type of business. If it's traditional property management, REO, short sale, investor, whatever. Make sure you're preparing your business. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. So my prediction is we're not going to fall off a cliff. We're not going to. We might see a couple of steps, but it's not going to be as dramatic as it was before. And that's just my personal opinion. Again, this is Bubba with Corcoran Consulting and Coaching. I appreciate your time, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a blessed day.